Hi, this is imm2370, assignment 2. And first thing you want to do is create your folder with your name and put assignment 2 on the folder. And then we'll bring up animate, create a new HTML5 canvas. We're going to change the size from 700 here and 200 height. I'm going to go over here and do fit to window. We do command minus, and that will make your stage a little bit smaller. I'm going to go ahead and do 100% here, just get a little bit smaller. I'm going to hit my space bar to give myself the hand, and I can move my stage around a little bit there. And I'm going to save my file. So file, save as, find my desktop and where I put my folder, and I'm going to name it with the imm2370, the name, your name, and the name of the assignment. This one's called Coffee Shop, and then we'll do save, and that should save an FLA file to your desktop right there. And when you get finished, you do want to save this with your photo that you use in it, and then when you publish a JPEG at the very end, we're going to add that. That should be in here also, and you can zip that up and turn that in. Okay, let's go back to animate. First thing we're going to do is we're going to select the rectangle tool, and we're going to go ahead and we'll do our stroke, and we'll do that at at 100%, and we'll do the color. I'm going to type in here 663300, return, and for the fill color we're going to do CC 6600, and that should allow us to draw a rectangle. And I probably don't want my stroke to be up that large, so I'm going to select it. I'm just going to use the selection tool and select the whole thing. I should be able to control the stroke, which I'm doing right here. That's about 7, and that looks pretty good. Another thing you can do other than use the selection tool to select it and move, and that allows you to move it. You can also double click it. You can do that. If you don't do that, then you might move your fill area, which is right here. So I'm going to hit Command Z. You also might select one of your borders, which we don't want. I'm going to hit Command Z, and when you're on the selection tool, you should see that object mode should be drawn off. Now, if it's selected on right here, so if that is on the on mode, then your drawing objects should be normal, and that will just create an object like normal, like that. But we don't want that, so let's make sure we stay in the off mode. Go back to my rectangle, and we turn that off. And that's all in the properties area, and I'm in the rectangle not here. I'm going to go, so I'm going to select my stage. I'm just going to selection tool, click on the stage, and I should see a little stage here. If you want to change your dimensions, you can do it down here at any time. I'm going to select the stage color, and I'm going to call it CC9966. Okay. Let's see. We're going to select the oval tool now. Let's see. I guess my fill color is not at 100%. There we go. Which means this one might not be at 100%. So I'm going to select that color, and I'm going to go in, select my fill color right here. I'm just going to change that alpha, which I'm just clicking on that number and dragging it to the right. Hit return. Okay, now I'm going to go back and select my oval tool. And I'm going to come up here a little bit closer to the top and drag in that. It kind of goes over the area which I want. So I'm going to hit Command Z because I don't want it like that. In fact, I'm going to select this area again. I'm going to double click, and I want my stroke to be a little bit smaller. I think I might make it maybe a 4. That way I can see my lines a little bit better. All right, I'm going to go back into the oval tool, and I'll put it down here underneath the tools. And sometimes if you're all the way single, you might want to go over here and see where you can get those double lines over here and pull that over, and then you can see a double row of the tools, and then you can see this at the bottom, which is a snap to objects button. So make sure that's selected. So now when I select the oval tool, now it should snap a little bit when you click to the side. So I'm going to go there. I'm going to draw another oval, pretty close to about the same. Yeah, something like that. And now I'm going to go back over to my selection tool up here, and I'm going to delete the unwanted areas and strokes and fills I don't want. So I'm going to click on my zoom tool. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. I'm going to go back to my selection tool and then delete. I'm going to select these little pieces of the stroke right here and delete those. I'm going to select this fill and delete that. And go around and get each of those areas on the edges that I don't want. I don't want that piece, so we'll delete that. Okay. Now I want to make this a little more three-dimensional, so I want to bring this area and kind of squeeze it all together. So I'm going to select the free transform tool right here, up here at the top. And once again, you can try double clicking, and that will get you. I'm going to hit Shift and double click, and that's one way to do it. You can also, I'm clicking outside of the box that deselected, where I can just select it all this way. And let's see, I'm going to select this with the, I believe it's Command and click and Shift. It might be, I think, Control on the PC. So hit the Command and then push it in, but it's only doing one side. So I'm going to hit my Shift, and I'm holding down the Command and the Shift at the same time. I'm moving it inward. Yes, and so I want something a little more like that. Okay, and then I let go of the Shift and Command button. I'm going to click outside here to deselect. And now I'm just moving my selection tool around. Make sure you have your selection tool selected. And when you get close, when you drag it across and it gets close, you're going to see that little Looks like a little happy face or a curved line underneath the selection tool. And I just want to click and drag outward a little bit, and that should bend your line. We get to this one. Okay. So now we got that started. Now I'm gonna select. I'll go back and select my outer stroke. So I have that line selected. Now I'm going to go under Edit. I'm going to do Copy. I'm going to do Edit again and Paste in Place. Now that should put a stroke, the same stroke, right on top of that. So now I'm going to go in and do the free transform tool. And then I'm going to Shift and click and drag. I'm going to move, I'm going to make it a little bit smaller. If you want to take your snap off, if you want it to get a little bit closer, maybe make the stroke a little bit smaller over here. It's right now at a 4. Maybe I'll make it a 2. I'm just going to click over here, click off. Give a little bit of variety of width. And I'm going to do that again. I'm going to Shift Select. For some reason, I keep getting this one in the center. Let's see if that works. We'll try it again. Edit, Copy, Edit, Paste in Place. And this time, I'm just going to hit my up and down arrow keys to nudge it. I'll move it down here. Down there. Okay, now I'm going to go back up to my selection tool again and click these pieces that I don't want. Okay. Now I want to go in and I'm going to make the front of the coffee cup, I'm going to give it a fill, and I'm going to give it a gradient. So I'm going to select that front there. I'm going to go up in here into the color palette. You also might find it under Window and down here at Color. And then that should come up in your tools. So I'm going to select that, and over here where it says solid color, I'm going to change that to linear gradient. Yes, and now I get a black and white. And I forgot to mention that when you see those dots, that means it's selected. So you click out of it, and it's not selected. When you click on, it's selected. And I'm doing that with my selection tool. So let's go over to my palette. I'm going to move the white over here. I'm going to click and drag this. To add a color, you come underneath this color bar and you just click underneath and you can see a little plus next to the selection tool. So I click and there you have another color. Now I'm going to add colors within there. Let's see. I'm going to double click this, and now I'm going to select that color there. Am I using the color picker for that? I'm going to come over here and double click on this. And then I'm going to select that darker brown. And then you get something a little bit like that. That's pretty good. I might change it up a little bit. Might add a little more colors. I'm going to come over down here and click another one. Let me double click that. So I can see my color picker. And I'm going to pick that color that's the main color on the coffee cup again. going to select that. And I'll bring it down here. Get a little less white. Bring this maybe a little bit over here. Get a little more. Oh, and I accidentally broke it off. If you want to remove them for whatever reason, you just click downward and drag. Okay, maybe something. Whoop. Got rid of that one again. Keep doing that. Okay. Now I'm going to click on that color palette again to get rid of it. Let's maybe we'll select that, the coffee, and let's go ahead and go back into that color again, and let's go under, instead of solid color though, now we're going to go down to the very bottom where it says bitmap fill, and go into your folder, which is it shows for me up here, and then I'm going to select the photo that's in there, called coffeeandcream.jpg, and now I have that in there. Okay. Now let's see. Let's see if I can try to get this gradient up in here also. So I'm going to select this area. And let's go back up here. I'm going to go back into my linear gradient. And then there it shows already. It shows up there. Okay. Now if you want to change the gradient a little bit more, let's go ahead and select the gradient, and we're going to go into where it has the free transform tool, but we're going to do the gradient transform tool right here, and I'm going to move the arrow inward, and you can see it it changes where the gradient starts and ends. In this center area, you can move it a little bit more over. I'm going to do it to this one also. Move it inward. Maybe I want it a little more over here. So maybe I want this one rotated a little bit more. Maybe something a little bit like that. Okay. And I forgot to double click on that layer, and we'll call it coffee mug or coffee cup, whatever you want to call it. Oh yes, and I also forgot to mention, sometimes if you can't get your gradient to work, so let me select that area. It looks like it's not showing. Let me select the paint bucket tool. Here it is. So when you select the paint bucket tool, if you have that locked, it's not going to let you fill. Well, I take that back. Well, it will let you undo it, but it won't let you fill it. So you might have to unlock it and then fill it. There we go. I'm going to go ahead and save that. And I think I'm going to stop this one, and I'll continue on the next video.